All right, everybody, before we dive into today's episode, we have some exciting news to share.
That's right. The Casting Faith podcast has officially partnered with
First Form,
your go-to for the best energy drinks, greens, protein bars, beef sticks, and much more to fuel your fitness and wellness journey.
Whether you're hitting the gym or heading out on the water or just trying to feel better every day, First Form has you covered. It doesn't matter if you're keto, if you're vegan, whatever diet you're on, they have you covered. Think premium protein products, top tier vitamins, and even these delicious energy drinks that fuel this podcast.
Here's the best part. When you shop through the link in our bio, you're not just investing in your health, you're helping the Casting Faith podcast and supporting us to bring you more content.
So go ahead and check it out. Grab what you need because they have you covered, and let's tackle this faith, fitness, wellness journey. Whatever you're on, this is the stuff that will fuel you. And let's dive into today's episode.
Other family members who would wake up before who?
All right, Katie, you're coming on next.
Yeah, we can ask Katie. That would be interesting, actually. I would enjoy hearing her tell this truth. But so I got up earlier that morning and I
She
started
lived in
mowing.
another country at this point. So.
She knows us. I got up and started mowing, and
I can't stop laughing because John's laughing over here. He's so red in the face. He's laughing so hard at your story.
So I got up and started mowing, and my grandpa had bought a zero turn, which was a blessing.
Oh, man.
It helped us a lot. So I think I had already mowed all of my aunt and uncle's yard, and then he's got. I'm not laughing because I'm telling a lie. I'm laughing because giggle face over here. I started mowing. I still remember where I was. It was in the back of the backyard.
I challenge you as a believer, let that power get out.
Blind people received their sight. People have been carried in. We're healed. Nobody touched them. Nobody laid a hand on them. We just praised the Lord and spoke the word of faith, and God began to heal the people.
Here's a fish.
Yeah, let's go! Oh my gosh, he's a pig. He landed inside.
He kept me from, God, look how massive this is.
The Casting Faith podcast.
Fish on.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Casting Faith podcast. Today, you are not seeing double. You are not going to hear double. These are actually two separate people.
What?
To my right, Matt Miller. To my left, John Miller. The twins have finally made the podcast.
Let's go. Welcome back.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to the show.
A lot of people down here. Yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, man.
So this is cool because it's like the first time we've done this many guests in studio. So it's
a little tighter than usual.
It's a
actually
new
not
format,
bad.
so it's cool.
Wish we had a longer table.
Yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, glad you guys came. Glad you both are here today. And we got a lot to talk about. But before we do, let's just catch up. What are you guys getting into this day?
This day?
This day, last day, this week.
We hit the fishing hole today.
Let's hear about it.
And then we want to hear about the last time you hit the fishing pole.
I'm surprised we did not.
Actually, let's just start there. Let's just start there. So, Matt, you're the captain of this vessel on this day. So what goes through your mind when you see a weather report of winds at 26 miles an hour in a funnel of a lake?
Let's do it.
Nice. How big is your boat?
8 foot.
Tell us about it. It's hilarious.
I usually throw it in the bed of my truck and go anywhere.
So my perspective of this story that we're getting ready to hear, I pull up. We launch on. So Mosquito Lake, for those that don't know, it was at least 5 miles long. It's probably longer than that. But the run that I made was about 5 miles ish. So we launched at the south end, and we call Matt and John. And like, hey, where you guys at? We thought you guys launched at the south end too.
We would have never made it.
It was so calm at the south end. It was crazy. It was a south wind. So, so we run up there 5 miles to meet up with you guys. And by the time we get up there, you guys said you're on the other side of the bridge. And when I'm coming through this bridge, my boat is like, it looks like the trolling motor is going to hit the ceiling of the overpass. Like probably every bit of 4-foot rollers out there with white caps. And it was barely making.
I didn't see that.
And then these guys are in the little 8-foot plastic boat with a probably like 45-pound
it's a 40
motor. 40 and an oar.
It's funny because
and one oar. That's a miniature oar that you have to extend. And I think like something's wrong with it. It doesn't like stay extended very well. Yeah,
that's perfect.
My boat's 8 foot long. We have probably like a 2-foot oar.
It's funny because we were on our way back. Sean said, "Hey, make sure you put your hats on backwards because it's pretty windy, and we're flying on this boat, and we're still seeing all the waves that you're seeing only on his nice bass boat." And he goes, "Make sure your hats are on backwards." And we're like, "Okay." And Christian's with us, and I'm like, I just took mine off and I sat on it because like similar to roller coasters, like not exactly the same, but same principle. You don't want your hat flying off. And I take a drink of my drink, and I look over at Christian, and he's just about to say something, and all you see is, whoosh, and his hat just goes flying into the water. It was funny, but the waves were pretty intense. It was hard to fish.
Yeah,
at least for us.
But you guys caught. Well, did you catch anything, or just John?
I was too busy being a captain.
Yeah, pretty important.
No, we found a little cove that was just like ice. Like just glass, just perfect. That was the only place on the whole lake I think did not have wind.
Yeah, it was rough.
I caught 3, and then it wasn't long after that. Like, oh, this wind's picking up.
My plan was like, I really don't know what my plan was. I know it was to get closer to the truck.
Just to fish.
Yeah, I wanted to get closer to the truck. And I knew that on the other side of the bridge, if we can make it there were some bigger fingers going out that would probably be calm enough for us to actually fish. So I'm like, if I could just make it there.
Yeah.
Well,
what was my suggestion, Matt?
I don't think he was the captain that day. I guess I should have known at the very beginning when we went out there before we crossed the bridge. We were out there fishing, and I told John, I was like, you know what? It's pretty rough right here. Let's just go under the bridge. It seemed to be more calmer when we passed. I said, we'll just head that way, and I haven't fished that side before, so we'll see what we find. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm like, yeah. So I'm going under the bridge, and there's a guy fishing off the bank. He's like, y'all are crazy. So, yeah, we love fishing.
He's taking pictures of us.
Yeah, he was taking pictures of us.
It's funny. It was so bad that you guys told us that, and I went the next day on YouTube looking for that video. Like somebody,
it's somewhere.
Sean will find it.
It is somewhere. Maybe
like
someone will watch one day and be like, you know what? That was
me.
Yeah, we're in a safety video somewhere.
Yeah.
So I knew if I could just get back to the other side of the bridge, there was, so I'm like, you know what? And the wind was pretty bad at the time, but it wasn't as bad as it got when we got to the middle.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to go just straight for the bridge.
Yeah, I told him,
John
I said, let's go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, John goes, just take it easy around the bank and we'll work the bank back up. I said, John, I'm going to do what I want to do.
He said his last words.
He said, I'm going to do what I feel is best. And the truck's right over there. And he points across the middle of the lake. And he just takes off in the middle of the lake.
Once we got to the middle,
That's when it got bad.
Yeah, I'm like, oh boy.
Maybe we should have stayed by the bank.
I'm not one to wear a life vest, while fishing. I mean, if I'm in a bass boat or something, I'll put them on while traveling, but I immediately take it off.
Yeah.
I have never worn a life vest in my 8 foot.
We couldn't figure out how to put them on. We never used these before.
I didn't even tell John anything. I just handed him his life vest.
You didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
You're gonna need this,
I
brother.
just needed it.
Might need this today. Meanwhile, the water's freezing cold.
Yeah. So I'm watching John trying to put this life vest on. He doesn't know how. So I said, well, I'm not going to look like that because I didn't know how either.
I mean, you kind of are going to look like that.
Yeah. And then we had a lot of times of like laughter.
We couldn't stop laughing.
But we were also like, we knew what was happening too. And at one point I was like, John, I hate to tell you this, but just go ahead and call Sean. Call Sean. He's going to have to come get us.
Yeah.
And then John calls you, and we didn't know, but you had already been, you already loaded your boat up.
Half hour out.
Yeah. And then I acted like everything was okay. I'm like, oh yeah, we're good.
Not good.
The only thing that our trolling motor was doing was just
Nothing.
yeah.
Keeping you at a slow reverse.
Yes, it was at a reverse, but a slow one.
Yeah, it slowed
And John
down.
had our fold up. I don't even know how you describe our oar.
Telescoping.
Yes, basically in the front, and that was the only thing keeping us from turning.
Oh,
and I
my.
knew that if we turned sideways, we were going to flip.
Oh, wow.
So we were just wanted to take those head on. So I
was getting tired. And when we were laughing, I was getting weak. And I was like, we got to stop laughing. And then he's like, call Sean. I was like, I can't call Sean. I'm trying to keep this thing from tipping over. Hey, Siri!
That's so awful.
That's exactly what I did.
That's awful.
I had Siri call you, and then I just handed the phone back to Matt.
Yeah. When we were getting ready to head back to the dock, I was like, we should probably make sure John and Matt are all right, because I mean, it seemed like the wind had calmed down, but we were on the south end, so we were being blocked by all of the wind. And it was like, oh, they'll probably be fine. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I should at least check. But then we loaded up so fast and we were out of there. And then here's that phone call.
Oh, man.
As soon as I saw you were calling, I was like, oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, no. What's happened?
I kept telling John, I was like, well, I'll just get somebody to tow us in.
He kept saying that, but he wasn't.
But I did not want to I do have a bit of pride, right? And that would kill it.
Maybe that was the intention.
Yeah, and honestly, I learned a new word the other day, flapdoodle. It's like that would have been my name that day.
Flapdoodle.
What is the definition of this word?
Yeah, I want to know. I'm curious.
In nice words, silly.
Okay.
Not smart.
Flapdoodle.
Flapdoodle.
Yeah, so
Captain Flapdoodle.
There's this,
Flapdoodle. That legit.
Stick that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. But I'm like, finally, I told John, I was like, okay, the next person I see, I'm flagging them down. And I seen this boat. They were acting kind of strange. They would go by us. And I'm like,
they were like waiting on you guys to flag them down.
Yeah. And I was like, they're watching us. They have to be watching us. And then they would fly by, they would stay, stop, sit a minute, fly by again. I'm like, either they're taunting us or just waiting for our white flag, we give up. But then these two young guys came by and I said, John, here we go. Hey.
So it was an Amish guy and his little son.
Yeah.
And they're going by and we're like, all right, Matt, this is the person. Here's our opportunity. Because everyone's going in. There's a lot of people that are just going in. It's too rough. Mm-hmm. Boats are going in, and we're out here on this little raft looking thing. And I'm like, all right, our opportunities are growing dim here. Either that or we're just going to let the wind take us.
Well, I had offered to take a drive back, but it's going to be about an hour.
Yeah. So I was like, no, we want to be out of the water by then.
Yeah.
But the Amish guy was going by, and we started waving, And they just started, hey, waving back. And we're like, no, hey.
We had to give a not so nice wave at that point. Like,
like desperation.
no, like, please.
Yeah. So
he stopped.
I was on the other end of that. Like the following, it might have been the next day or 2 days. Somebody at West Branch flagged me down. I thought they were just waving. I was like ignoring them. It's like, I don't want to wave at somebody. Like that's kind of weird. Until they started doing this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they need towed just like John and Matt did.
Yeah. Well, the Amish guy and his son, I mean, they came up and I'm like, hey, can you please tow us? They're like, yeah. And I was like, do you have a rope?
You don't have a rope either.
And he's like, yeah, we got one. And, we're just sitting there at this point and the waves are
That's
just
got to
like,
be sketchy.
Oh, it was sketchy because then at that point we had to let the boat turn.
Yeah.
That I thought that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's digging around for a rope and then he pulls out a little packet and it's probably 10 foot long of little bitty nylon rope.
Oh man.
And I'm like, oh, this thing's going to pop,
Wow.
And so I wrap it around the front and he like gets it and wraps around his chair or something in his boat. And we start going and first he takes off fast. Water just comes right over all of us. It's cold.
Ooh.
And we got, now the boat's like full of water and he slows down. He sees what happened. He just takes it really slow. My opinion, a little too slow. I was ready to get out of there, but he was cautious. It probably took us 45 minutes from where we were being towed all the way back. And once we got back, he lost control of his boat at one point. The wind was so.
Wow.
Yeah.
His boat and our boat was going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no. Man. And I felt so bad.
I started talking to him because
I'm like, hey.
Matthew's like, man, I wish I had cash. I don't give him cash.
I said, my cash is in my truck.
Yeah.
And it was, at that point, it was way too rough to go to the same dock that we launched where my truck was.
You had to go over the bridge.
Yeah, we had to go.
No, not happening.
Oh no.
He turned around
and even the guy said, I can't bring you over there.
You don't want to go over there, do you? And we're like, nope. We looked through the bridge and I mean, waves are coming in pretty strong.
We barely squeaked through that bridge on the way out.
Man.
Like it was an inch from smacking the trolling motor on the ceiling.
I told the guy, I'm like, hey man, please, I got to go across the street and get my truck anyway. Please stay here. I'll give you some cash. I just felt so bad that,
he was such a nice guy.
That was a nice gesture.
He wasted an hour pulling these two guys in.
What was the word? Flap doodles.
Flap doodles out.
The Amish are awesome though, man. Like I started asking because with my work, I have a lot of Amish clients and customers and so I started asking where he's from. I'm familiar with the area where he's from. So I just started calling out names.
Tell him your last name's Miller.
Do you know? I didn't even get to that point. I don't want to be a disappointment to the Amish community. So, and I'm like, I was like, hey, do you know Will so-and-so? And he's like, yeah, I actually do know him. I'm like, okay, I work with him. He buys my material and stuff. And he's like, okay. So it's going to be interesting when I go back in to that fabricating shop and ask him, hey, did so-and-so, but he had he's like, hey, yeah, we had a pretty good day. And he holds up, he goes, this is our biggest one. It was probably a big 3-pound bass. I mean, they were catching bass that day.
Nice. Nice. It was rough.
More of the story. I felt so bad that this guy did all that. My trolling motor didn't break. I still had battery. But once we got all the way back to where I acted like it's been broke the whole time. I was afraid. I didn't even touch my trolling motor because I'm like, this guy's going to we just gave this guy a ride and his trolling motor works.
Yeah.
But
it was obvious he couldn't move.
Yeah. I think that anybody watching, even the guys from the shoreline were like, what are you guys doing?
Did you say 36 mile per hour gust?
I think it was 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
On Sunday.
Which is a lot. I mean, but so mosquitoes is just a tunnel. There's no fingers, hardly, north to south. It's like a funnel.
It felt like 100-mile-an-hour gust.
It probably did get higher.
If it was a hot summer day and it's midsummer and the water temperature is warm, I would have jumped in the water.
You said you're going to swim, and I was like, the water's 59 degrees.
Yeah.
You're going to get hypothermia.
Yeah.
There was this one shed to our right, way off. And I kept telling John, oh, see, we're moving. Pretty soon, the shed went from behind us to like right beside us. And I'm like, hey, John, there's that shed. Looks like we're going backwards.
Oh, man.
There was a point that like some semis were passing over the bridge and we were getting close, you know. Then when the wind picked up, like there was a point where I could probably make out the color of the semi.
Oh, man.
And then about 10 minutes later, I can't even make out the color of this.
Wow.
You know, that type of thing.
Wow.
We were going back.
I will have a bass boat. My goal is to have a bass boat by next year.
Do it.
You should totally 100% do that.
Why, John?
To not go through that again, and so I can have a bass boat too.
Yeah. I thought you guys already have a bass boat.
It is a bass boat. That is for sure.
Hey,
the one that's in Louisiana.
Oh, yeah, I do have one. Yeah, that was...
That's a sore subject.
By the time we get it up here and restore it back to the way it should be, might as well buy another bass boat, like already.
Yeah.
But it's kind of sentimental too, as my grandfather, so...
We'll let John restore that boat, and then I'll go buy a boat.
Yeah.
And
then we can all go fishing.
No.
In our own boat.
Yeah.
No. I think that I will not restore that boat and let you buy the bass boat, and I'll bring like the snacks and stuff.
That's what I'll do too. I'll keep my lifetime snack guy. I'll be the snack guy.
I will
bring
say,
that snackle box. You know what I'm
I'll
saying?
bring all this First Farm energy drinks.
Yeah.
I will say we do catch bass in that little thing.
You better believe it.
How many did you catch today?
At least 15.
We ripped some lips today, dude.
Nice. I mean, it was a tough day though. I mean, the grass was just so thick, and we had a small moment like mosquito.
Oh no!
PTSD.
I just started laughing again, and I told John, "I'm like, are you serious?"
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, there is a storm blowing in today too.
Yeah, the wind was.
We were on the water when it did. Yeah.
Some of you guys.
This time,
this is after we got all these bags.
Yeah, we had. I had weeds all. I mean, just going through all those weeds and everything with the trolling motor, and fighting the wind all day. On the way back, I'm like, man, my trolling motor, like something's like up. It's getting my battery was dying.
Oh.
Yeah. So guess what? That telescopic oar
went to work
Used
again
it today.
Hey, my back's sore right now. I'm gonna tell you that. But it was a successful trip.
Wow.
I'm still glad we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that boat that I pulled at West Branch, we made it like 3 miles an hour is about how fast we were going. And it was probably I would say it was a bayliner. It was probably 20-foot bayliner, 19-foot bayliner or whatever. But it kept like drifting side to side, like, and just kept doing that behind me, and it would pull my boat, and then I'd steer. It's constant, just this, and it was kind of calm too. So I couldn't imagine what that pulling your guys' boat would do on a windy day. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, because it's basically a rectangle. You know, it's not. Now, what were motor issues or something?
Yeah, they it wouldn't come out of gear, so they couldn't start their engine.
That's
just stuck in gear, or wouldn't come into neutral.
Yeah, I think about that, both of those instances, and I'm thinking, what if Matt or John would have been alone? Like, what would you have done? You know, if you were all by yourself, you wouldn't be laughing. I'm sure, you know, like, what?
I wouldn't have anyone to share the laugh with. But yeah,
I would have hugged the side of the lake and got back.
John never would have been in that situation.
Yeah, that's what I would have done too if I was by myself. But sometimes when you say something,
I think because I suggested it, he was like, absolutely not.
Nah.
I'm the captain of the day.
Yeah, let me show him something. I mean, be honest, it was still the right call.
Memories were made.
Okay. We met 2 fine gentlemen.
There you go. Hopefully you shared the gospel.
Yeah, Sean. He heard John praying. So,
Oh man.
There was a moment like when water was coming over the side and like soaked my shoes and socks, and I'm like,
oh Jesus.
I was like, I hope we make it back, because like I'm just thinking of my like toes turning black.
Yeah.
While all this is going on, I realized like we have quite a bit of like a bunch of water in our boat.
All of a sudden he freaks out. He's
like, oh no,
we gotta get this water out of this boat.
We're in real danger.
He's like, you got something to scoop this water out? I was like, there's a water bottle you can cut in half and we can scoop. He's like, give it here.
Oh man,
I had some scissors and he cut it in half, and he's back there scooping out water as we're going.
Man,
God almighty.
Yeah. It was
I'm glad we had this experience, because Matthew's going to buy a bass boat now.
Well,
I think he was going to do that anyway.
I was gonna. It just will probably be sooner now.
So Matt has been out fishing on like the Lexus of all boats lately. So
yeah,
it seems like a huge step down when you go fishing by yourself.
Yeah, it's like, what am I doing? It's like, I have to bring a tackle box.
Yeah.
I'm used to like, okay, the boat is the tackle box,
right?
You know,
and it will be soon for you.
Yeah.
I hope I claim that.
Honestly, I think back to when we were younger, and the times that my uncle had a boat, and every summer, like the best times. We were with our dad and uncle.
We'll come by,
and we would just, in the morning, we would go bass fishing or brim fishing, bluegill.
You had it backwards. Morning we go speckled trout.
Oh yeah, vice versa. We would go speckled trout in Lake Pontchartrain and catch redfish as well and flounder, and come back. The men would take a nap. We would go crabbing.
The house we stayed at was on the Lacombe Bayou.
Yeah, it was on
like
the bayou.
right there on the bayou. So you literally drive there, and then the rest of the time you're going is you're on the boat. That's your transportation. So
wow.
Yeah, it was awesome, because it was just every summer, several times during the summer for a week, we would be on the bayou, and in the morning you're out on the salt water catching, speckled trout, redfish, flounder.
A couple sharks every once in a while.
Then you go back, the men go take a nap. We're all playing, swimming, doing whatever in the bayou there. And in the evening time, we would go, we call it brim, but, we would, catch all these fish. And then every night we would eat fish and corn nuggets and hush puppies, fries.
Beautiful.
And I do want,
getting really hungry.
I do want, it's kind of selfish. Yeah, I'm going to buy a bass boat for me, but I do want my daughter to have those same memories that will last a lifetime, Yeah. Because I will never forget. And I would love to be, one of my dreams is to, I did get to do it with my 8-foot legend.
The legend.
But I brought my dad out on that when he came up, and
That's cool.
We went fishing.
Full circle, huh?
Yeah, but I would love to be able to like take him out on a boat.
So when I picked up my boat, I took my son with me to go pick it up at Bass Pro. Don't buy a bass boat from Bass Pro. They're kind of terrible.
There goes the
I'm just saying. If you want to buy a tracker boat, you kind of have to do that.
Fast as that boat goes,
man, they're kind of lacking on customer service. But anyways, the guy that loaded or brought the boat out of the shop came out, and he's like, "Man, you guys have fun." Me and my son there, and he's like, I still remember when I was a kid, this dude's like 65, 70 years old on the tractor pulling the boat up. And he's like, I still remember when I was a kid fishing with my dad in the evenings.
Yeah.
That, and that's what everybody's memories.
That sounds like great
are.
customer service, Sean.
Yeah.
Well, those dudes were cool, but it's like the people that matter, like that you have to schedule.
Oh, he don't matter.
Like I can't get my boat in. So it might have been my fault, but when I pulled the transducer cable through for my new stuff, I may have ripped out the kill switch wire. And to get it in there to get fixed under warranty is like 3 weeks or something like that. But you have to take time off of work because you can only drop it off during like business hours. So it's like, I'll just wait till winter.
Yeah, it sounds like a winter.
It's just so frustrating.
Tell us how you really feel.
Well,
it's you saying
but
that.
yeah, the memories.
I think
the guy
that's
was
what it's
about.
about, man.
Yeah.
Because-
My memory with my dad fishing for first rainbow trout I ever caught. And I remember him vividly teaching me how to tie a simple fisherman's knot. And like for the longest time, that was the only knot I tied because he taught me that. And it's funny because years later, I just recently got into steelhead fishing and it's pretty much the same fish, very similar. And it was like a full circle moment. I taught Sadie and Kendall how to tie that same knot when we went to Little Turtle Pond. And they're still like, Daddy, when are we going fishing? I'm like, we're going to go soon. So
Brindley's the same way. She's like,
go fishing.
She loves fishing now. And it makes me so happy because it's like, yes, I did something right.
Yes.
It used to be, she didn't want to touch anything. And I do have a video of her catching her first fish.
That's awesome.
And it was a bass. One of my other little cousins ran up. We were at a pond. And they had caught a little frog. I said, give me that. And I put it on a hook. And I threw it out there and I gave it to Brindley and a little bass. I have a video of her catching that fish.
Awesome.
And
Cool.
it made me so happy. And it went from her being scared to touch worms and stuff to me catching her, putting one in her pocket to take home. So now I have to.
She put the fish in her pocket?
The worm. So now she loves fishing and it makes me happy. And
that's awesome.
I think it would be even more fun on a bass boat.
I was cleaning the fish today, and Gentry's like, I ran inside to get something, and I came back out, and he's like, Dad, I'm poking all the eyeballs out. I was like, such a little boy, right?
You should say, you got to eat it now.
Dad, I'm poking the eyeballs. I'm like,
that's such a boy thing.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
We have some exciting news. We have officially partnered with
Backbone Coffee.
That's right. Casting Faith, Backbone Coffee, partnering together to bring good coffee to your morning routine.
Whether you're out on the water or
In everyday life,
or working the graveyard shift,
Backbone Coffee is for you.
it is. Try it out. It's awesome. Check the link in the description.
The girls are the same way. I have a video of us. We went to the pond and they were catching a bunch of bluegill. And there was a crane that came up, or like wasn't a crane, it was a blue herring. It came up and just was on the dock next to us. And I'm like, okay, it's really close. Girls, stay kind of close to me. And we were just fishing and it was just waiting and it just sat there. And they caught one and they kept catching them. And I'm like, well, let me see this. And I threw the bluegill at him and he ate it. And he just hung out with us the whole time, and he was super chill. And they always talk about
over here.
yeah. He ate well.
Question for you: if you have like a 50 blue herring altogether, what would you say?
A heron.
Run. I'm not
a flock of herons.
Is it blue herrings?
Oh. No, you're playing on two different things.
Just take the G out.
Plurals are hard.
Just take the G out.
Heron.
Blue heron.
Blue heron. And but if 50 of those showed up, I'd be freaking out. I'd be running, like too many, like outnumbered. So we were out kayaking, and David's I don't know his name, but David's family, in-laws' son, was out, and they had run up on the kayaks. They had run up on a herring, and it had some fishing wire wrapped around its beak. And he did the right thing, and he went and he tried to cut it. And David said, "Hey man, you're really close to it. Like, you got to be very careful." And as he's saying, "You're too close to it," it pecks him right in the head, and he had like a gash in his head. Those things are dangerous. That's why I was like, girls, stay like a little close, because that had happened recently. And I'm like, man, but it was cool. It chilled. I
caught a seagull on Lake Erie a few years ago.
That's awesome.
Casting out, and it was flying right as my lure was about to hit the water. And I caught it and had reeled it in and untangled it.
Was it Randy Johnson? Was that who's the pitcher?
Yeah, Randy Johnson.
Killed the bird with
I saw,
Birds are amazing. Honestly, they will teach you a lot of stuff if you watch them. Like,
tell us about
how still do they sit there and wait for the right moment to go from their environment into the fish's environment and take them. Like, it's just crazy. I mean, yesterday or a couple of days ago at work, we were pretty busy. Didn't have a chance to cook or anything, so we were walking across the street to the Vides and to grab some subs to eat. And one of my coworkers goes, "Dude, what's on my back?" I look, and it was a cockatiel. It just came out from nowhere and landed on his back.
Trying to get it.
It was very weird. I like took it off his back and I'm like, where did this thing come from? We still don't know.
It's got to be someone's pet that got out.
Yeah,
that's wild.
It was just okay.
So we talked about that recent trial on the water. Growing up as twins, what is the hardest thing that you've faced together? Like, if you can go, like, think back through the memories. You talked about the good memories of all the things, and I had mentioned it a minute ago about how, it's a great thing that you weren't alone, Matt, or it's a great thing that you weren't alone, John. You had each other, and even in that horrible moment, you had each other to laugh with, and through that awful situation. Looking back in life, obviously that's not the worst thing that's ever happened to you two.
No,
right? So, but can you tell me of a time where your relationship with each other got you through a tough time?
I could think of two really quickly. I forget exactly how old we were, but John had gotten really sick, and I think I was more scared than he was, and I didn't know what to expect or what to do, or I mean, nobody really did, but he was sick for a long time. I mean, he wasn't sickly or anything like that. I mean, very active and stuff, but then again, he had to be careful when he was being active. We went from beating each other up all the time to you can't hit him in the head or the stomach. It's like, wait, what? It can kill him. So I think like having each other during those moments. And then another was, I don't know how life would have been moving overseas without someone going through this same exact thing. We graduated and immediately moved overseas from high school.
Did you, John kind of shared his testimony about moving. Did you have the same feelings, like that you didn't really want to go as well then?
Yeah, I became very rebellious. I was so bad. Looking back, I feel bad for my parents, and it took me 6 months, I think, being over there before I really like understood why I was there. Kind of gave in and let it happen. It's just like, but without us being there together to experience that, I mean, at least we had each other that we could talk to.
I mean, we made sure that we created lots of memories over there together for sure. Like beyond ministry, it was like we also, we enjoyed life a little bit too. Like we got to experience a lot. We really like threw ourselves to the culture, if that makes any sense. And like we didn't stay inside. We didn't do any of that. We were out there with the people, and I mean, we were playing basketball tournaments, like
you were pros, weren't you? Like at a certain point.
Yeah. What was the league called?
They got paid to do it.
What was that league called?
I don't.
Big
IPL or I forget.
What was the name of the team?
I'll have to look back and see if I can find pictures.
I got the jersey in Louisiana somewhere.
That's funny.
But then,
I could never fit in that jersey again.
I was like, I was a $170 back then. Then we got to play like some 3-on-3 tournaments. That was cool.
Yeah,
we got to go on the most watched television program in the nation. That was cool. But we made some really good friends over there too. But having him, it was always like. And then, I mean, to be honest, even when I moved to Ohio, you know, even once I was married, have kids and everything, it's like to have someone that you grew up with, like to not have nobody around that grew up with you. It's a little different. So when Matt moved up here, it was really cool to have someone.
So you guys didn't move up here at the same time?
No.
I was so mad at him. You know what he did?
We got married.
Here we go.
He told me when I was coming up here.
I said, like, he texted me and he said, hey, I got mad at him first. Like, I had just moved back. He had been in Louisiana, and I had just moved back from overseas. He came back before me. I stayed longer. I had just moved back, and then as soon as I get back, I don't think he was there a week, and he moved to Ohio.
I was already, and the plans were already in place for me to move.
Yeah, but I was so mad, and I'm like telling him, we're supposed to go fishing together, hunting together. We're supposed to raise our kids around each other. You know, this is home. And we've been away from home for so long, and then, like, this is home, you know?
Yeah.
And I was so mad. And
he kept saying, "You better not go up there and find a girl."
Yeah, and guess what he did?
You are not. You are not to get married up there. You better not do it.
He texted me and sent me a picture and said, "Hey, so I have a girlfriend now." And I got so mad. I was so mad.
He was even mad at my wedding.
What? I don't remember being mad at your wedding.
Well,
but I was super mad that he got in a relationship because I knew it was over at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, John's in love.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I knew it was over. And I was like, well, he's never coming back, you know? Yeah.
So, Matt, what made you to decide to move up here? Sorry, I'm breaking the rules again.
Yeah.
What?
What made you decide to hit your head on that microphone?
Chipped his tooth on the microphone.
Well, there's a lot of stuff. John had moved in and was doing an internship and stuff, and I was kind of a couple of things. John had Christian and Droopy come down to. I was living in Mississippi at the time, working in a shipyard, and I remember like they came. I said, "Y'all come over here," and they came down, and we went and played ball together at a park, and I just saw the godly influence and godly like brotherhood that he had with them, and it made me jealous in a way, like in a good way, of course. Like I was like I'm
missing this.
Yeah, like I want that, you know. And so that kind of like sparked some things, and I'm like, man, and a lot of other things too, like everything lined up, and a lot of different things helped me make that decision. And then I remember I was up here for Back to Battlefield or something, one of the Back to Battlefields. I don't know what year it was, but Christian was like, "Hey, you want to come help me move something at the church?" Like, yeah. So we were over at John's house. So we went and we walked into the church, and it was almost like I heard my mom praying. And I'm like, it kind of like stunned me, like, wow. And the sanctuary was really dark, but we were going in the sanctuary to move something, and that's where that person was praying. And I'm like, oh man, that sounds just like my mom, like railing, and it was Sister Bolgren. And like, oh, and during this time, my walk with God was really shaky. I just felt like, I kept putting it off. Like, I know that I need to do better. I need to get closer to God. And I'm just, one of those, next week's coming, I'll do it then. Yeah. Well, Sister Bolgren told me something at Back to Battlefield. I think it was the next day after I heard her pray and stuff. And she said, hey, don't wait to be on fire for God. Be on fire for God right now. And just out of the blue, she told me that. I don't know if she remembers telling me that. But that like really stuck with me. Like, okay. And like, you know what? I'm going to make this move. So
that's awesome, man.
I don't regret it.
That's a really good story.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I didn't even know about that.
That's awesome.
We don't share everything with each other.
I just thought you had telepathy.
Is there anything to that? Have you ever felt like intuition?
I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah. I'm not going to say no either, because like sometimes I know something's wrong. But
John talked about this on another episode. He talked about this on another episode where you both have had moments like that.
Yeah. I can tell you one thing. When John's back was hurting really, really bad recently, I did not feel that pain.
I'm glad you didn't, because you had to pick me up off the ground.
I was going to end with that, because we would have both been on the floor, and that wouldn't have been good. I felt bad, but I wasn't in pain. But yeah, I think that we both know when something's going on. And not that we can read each other's mind, but I know when we were younger, we used to do this thing where we can communicate in front of everybody and nobody knows what we said. Just by like,
we used to do it in the car with our own family.
We would talk and mumble so bad that only us could understand it.
That's funny.
Well, then when we learned a different language, it was like we didn't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I told John this, and maybe you listened to it, but my dad is a twin, and his twin brother died of a heart attack delivering pizzas. He was at the mall in Parkersburg delivering a pizza and just dropped dead in the mall. But without with dad even knowing that information, the same time, so they knew what time my Uncle Randy had passed away, and the same exact time that he passed away, my dad came down like the sickest that he's ever been in his entire life. And he got this real bad migraine, started throwing up, vomiting, couldn't move. And they told my dad like an hour, 2 hours after my Uncle Randy had passed away that what had happened. And the same minute my dad got sick that when he passed away. But he was sick for like a week. And it wasn't like the flu. It was just like just a supernatural kind of like sickness. Real weird. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I love meeting.
That's kind of more morbid. I mean, no, John's like over here crying. Like,
well, we're proud to announce our new show sponsor, Two Clever Fellas. That's right. They do junk removal, yard cleanup, moving services, even Christmas lights. But that's not all. We have a special offer for our listeners today. 20% off on these projects in the summer and this spring. Call Marcus at 330-283-8000 and mention that we sent you and get 20% off. He's here to make life easier for you. So don't wait. Give Marcus a call today.
My bad.
I mean, you got to think there's like no one is closer than your twin.
Yeah. You're basically the same person.
No.
Well,
they're
I
different.
would
names.
say that's what's weird about it, is because we are so much alike but I feel like I know that I am so much different.
Our personalities are different.
Okay, so speaking of that, who's the? So I grew up real close with my cousins. Obviously, not twins or even brothers, right? But we were in the same house all the time, and we were always together. There was never a day where we weren't together. And all of us have different personalities, right? And all of us had a temper, but some of us had a bigger temper, right? And some of us were funny, and some of us were funnier, and some of us were shy, and some of us were way shyer. And so just curious, like, who's the more intense
Matt
guy? Would you agree?
Intense in what way? Like
temper? Intense.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I would like to say it's no longer a problem.
We all would like to think that.
No,
you know?
it's
in my opinion, I am never the problem.
No,
that sounds like a problem.
No, I get what you're saying though. Like, you've got it under control now.
Yeah, I've learned the hard way, but I've learned.
I'm the captain of this ship.
He's learning. He's learning.
I will say, you never stop learning, right?
Right.
So, what I did was help him.
Develop.
Right. Yeah. He did that for me. I appreciate that.
Now he knows.
It was a sacrifice.
He knows not to do what I did. So life is too short to learn from your mistakes, learn from others. And I made one that day. I don't make many, but I do. I did make one. And I want everybody to learn from that.
Check the weather.
I'm glad that I could be that example for people.
Of what not to do.
Of what not to do.
Yeah, stay away from mosquito wake.
I will go back. Maybe not in that boat.
Yeah.
Maybe
I will
check
not
the
go
weather
back
first.
in that boat.
Yeah. Weather doesn't bother me.
We were out there a week before though, and it was choppy, and we were out there and we were catching bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all that matters, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, as long as you're catching fish.
So
honestly, I don't
just
even
check the wind direction app. Fish the opposite bank.
Listen, we ain't got a fish finder. We ain't got an app. We're
South
out
wind,
there.
fish south banks. North
Look,
wind,
we
fish
get out
north
there,
banks.
you lick your finger, put it up in the sky, see which way the wind's blowing.
So who's older? Like, who came out
Who
first?
do you think?
Matt,
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
because you told me.
Oh, I didn't know.
Wow.
I just think, I feel like the more intense one's probably older. You had to fight. Remember the Bible? Who's the Bible story? Hanging onto the ankle.
I've lived longer. I've been through things. That minute before John showed up.
It was the greatest minute of my life.
Yeah. It's almost like I've had a son all my life.
Where's the boxing bell?
Wouldn't trade him for the world. Yeah, but it's me. Yeah.
Now, did you play
So
that
they
card?
say.
Did you play that card growing up? Like,
Yeah.
I'm the older one. It's my turn to do this because I'm the older one.
He tried.
It's all about respect.
Respect is earned.
Yeah, I did, and I might still play that card every once in a while. I don't know, but yeah, I'm like a minute or two older.
I wasn't around to know how long. Yeah.
So, did you guys ever swap spaces for fun or for other reasons?
I remember.
Yeah.
We were in
actually, we're not going to tell how long ago this was, but I did. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't go to the bank for him.
Really? It's not past the statute.
So it's still happening. So you just told us about his fire captain or whatever.
Yeah, that was funny.
The story.
Oh, that was
That
funny.
you're going to Browns game or something.
We were actually talking about that the other day. They're like, "Oh, you remember when your brother came here and he was so confused?" Like, wait a second. No, you're not leaving.
In school, I took a spelling test for you in Miss Bird's class.
Yeah, and I took, what was the other
You
test?
didn't take a test for me.
I should have.
No. He did not take a test for me. We switched in band class.
Oh, that was fun.
He played the saxophone.
I played the saxophone.
I played the trumpet.
It was the first day playing the saxophone.
And Mr. Chris stopped. Was like, John, what are you playing?
It was like squeaking so bad. and I think the difference between me and John is I was actually trying to play it instead of just acting. And yeah,
he was yelling, John, what are you doing? I'm like,
and our classmates knew.
I'm John over here on the trumpet.
Yeah. Good old days.
Yeah, that's fun.
You know what's funny? There was a set of twins that Matthew, you dated, right?
No.
Cool story.
You did.
You just said I dated a set of twins.
No. So, there was a set of twins. Matt dated one of the two.
Yes.
Yeah. So
now it's yes.
But I didn't date the set of twins. He said there was a set of twins that Matt dated.
But I always first of all, one of them. People try to pressure me into dating the other one, right?
Oh.
And then I always thought, I was like, I wonder if they're switching. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I knew better than that. You can't beat a guy at his own trick.
You know what? But I always thought is like, what if, like when we were younger, the only way they could tell us apart is his hair grows straight across in the back, mine grows to like a point. What if, like, before they made that decision or found out, like, what if I'm actually Matt?
Yeah, I thought about that when we were talking.
You would feel privileged.
You would feel privileged.
Like, what if you've been Matt your whole life?
Yeah, I'm definitely John.
The intensity shows. Yeah.
I've thought about that too. Like, what if they messed up and I'm really John?
Hey, Matt was born first, but I went home first. So. He needed a lot of work.
Yeah.
So way different career paths, though, huh? Like,
yeah.
I tried.
Matthew
John's.
chases anything that has lights. He loves lights. He never got over his Hess truck phase. You know, the Hess trucks, you turn on the lights and yeah.
So for our listeners who don't know, Matt, what do you do for a living?
Chase lights.
Anything that has a siren or a light on it, that's Matt.
I'm a firefighter.
There we go.
He saves lives.
I'm a fire medic. So yeah. Chase lights.
That's all.
And before that, you were in law enforcement, chasing lights.
And chasing lights.
Anything with lights, I'm telling you.
Yeah. And John, what do you do?
I've actually worked where John works.
He couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle it. I actually work for a great company, family-owned company. I am a territory manager for a steel distributor. So
yeah. So
I spend a lot of money there.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Well, your
thank you for bringing food.
We may or may not have had a good pizza party there.
I heard about like basketball game.
Yeah, business trip.
Yeah, business trip.
Business trip.
I wonder if you could swing the boat as a business.
Absolutely.
Line item, you know?
It's actually, you're coming up on my schedule, so we're going to have to schedule something up.
There we go.
Yeah, my boss stepped down. He's now project manager, so we're going to have a new boss soon.
So
you'll have to come and butter him up.
Oh, okay. More pizza.
Yeah.
Another Cavs game.
There you go.
Steak is always nice.
Yep, it is. Steak is nice. What's your favorite steak? What cut of steak?
Steak.
Yeah. Bone-in ribeye.
I like the bone-in ribeye. A lot of people don't like T-bones.
Bone-in ribeye, medium rare.
Delmonico, baby. What's yours, Sean?
From Save-A-Lot.
I don't know.
Save-A-Lot. That's that lab-grown meat we were talking about last time you were on.
Has anybody tried Wagyu?
I've not. I've had things claim that it's Wagyu.
They don't pay me enough to try Wagyu.
Amazing.
Didn't they have somebody drop it off or something?
So one of my lieutenants has some friends that's pretty well off, and they said they I don't know.
What's their phone number?
Yeah, 911. They said that they didn't know how to cook it, or they just I forget what was
They
the
bought
excuse,
too much.
but they gave
Gosh.
they gave my lieutenant enough to bring to the fire station and feed all of us.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And I honestly, it was amazing. I can't even describe.
Wagyu, you don't want to eat it over medium rare anyway, right? Is that correct?
I never eat anything. over.
Everything's always medium rare for me.
Right, but I think that's one.
I didn't cook it that day, so I can't tell you.
You know who cook a mean steak is my little sister, Katie.
She can.
Ask Christian about that.
Yeah.
Hey, she needs to come cook us this day.
I agree.
Is she going to be here with her friends on the corral, right? So
Yeah.
is she going to be
yeah.
here next week or Mother's Day or whatever?
I don't think so.
She still goes to IBC?
No, she's graduating now. Yeah. She's in Maryland.
Nice.
Well, Proverbs, we'll just jump into the Bible section here. Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And when I think of you guys, and really everyone sitting here today, like we talked about this a little bit last episode too, is, I try to surround myself with people. And Matt, you talked about this even here, like the godly relationships with men was something that brought you to Ohio. And it's something that I think everyone needs, right? As men, sometimes there's this temptation to just go through life and try to figure it all out on your own. And like you're sometimes find yourself on this little tiny boat in crazy water. And if you were alone, well, I decided I'm going to go this way. And we have that natural thing in us that says, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to figure it out my way. But God has given us brotherhood. And not all of us are twins, but we all have this godly brotherhood that we can lean on in times of trouble and in times of chaos and in just everyday life where God has designed it that way, and we sharpen each other. And so those relationships, these godly relationships, aren't just for comfort, but they're to make us better and more effective in our lives. And so I think that's something that I see in you too, and through your stories that I've heard just by hanging out with you and getting to know you over the years, that, God put you guys together as almost like a team your whole life, and I'm sure there's been highs and there's been lows, but you make each other better and you make those around you better. And so I'm grateful for our relationship and grateful for things like this, for opportunities to be around godly men. I think God has blessed us with that. And so I really do think that's something that a lot of people miss out on just because it's that stubbornness, of my way or the highway.
Right.
Which we all deal with as men. We all have that pride. It's pride, really. But God wants us to have this brotherhood. And so glad you guys have been on this show today and been able to share your stories of how this has been applied to your lives and how God has used your relationship, even as twins, to get you closer to Him every step of the way, every season. When you go back and listen to this, God has drawn you closer to Him together. He didn't ever separate you, like for a long period of time. And so I think that's cool. But yeah.
What has it been the best, like the past month? It's been almost like a theme within our circle, within our church. Like it's proximity, right? Like, like who show me your friends, I'll show you your future. How many times have we heard that last?
Yeah, a lot.
And then, like being around people that has a tabernacle in the center of their lives, right? In the center of their homes, and kind of like Matt kind of touched on it a little bit, but like not everybody has this, and it's a blessing to have friends that our goals are the same.
Yeah.
Our career paths are different, our families are different, but like every one of us has the one goal in mind, and like that's something that we can all relate to, and and we're all made different, so we strengthen one another. Yeah. Like my weakness is something that Charlie's really good at and can help me in that area, and Sean, Matt, not many strengths, but the ones that he does have, strong. I rely on this.
When my back was messed up, he came and picked me up off the floor. He
literally picked me up off the floor.
I hear Matt mows grass better though.
That's fine. He doesn't wake up to mow it though in time. So.
Okay,
Here we go.
so
Ding, ding, ding.
Sean is such an instigator.
We were having a beautiful moment there.
I don't know.
He's gonna find a way to put that in.
We got to finalize this.
And before
story.
Matt says anything, he got hit in the head so hard he does not remember the story correctly.
All right. Well, I guess we're here for the listeners.
We got to finalize what
actually.
actually happened, and let's agree on what happened.
I can tell you exactly what happened.
Okay.
All right. Here's how we're gonna do it. You both have your turn to speak.
You both get 2 minutes.
Do we get a timer?
It's like a rap battle.
Yeah.
And we've heard John's side before, so we'll start with Matt, and then we'll let John
Okay.
speak after.
So let me lay the scene here. So there I was.
Asleep.
No, so my grandpa had quite a few acres, and then we lived right beside him. So, I think we were living with our grandparents at this time, but we were still mowing our former yard, which our aunt and uncle had bought from my parents. So we would still mow their yard too, and weed eat. Or weed whack, as you say in the north.
Yeah, weed whack.
Yeah.
Weed whack. We got weed whack.
Yeah.
I say eat.
We got weed
Weed eat. Yeah.
I'm from West Virginia.
Yeah, you're right. So we would just take turns. 1 week you mow, the next week you weed eat. So, and I don't know why he thought that this would work, but
Don't say anything yet.
So I guess the only way to really figure this out is to ask other family members who would wake up before who.
All right, Katie, you're coming on next.
Yeah, we can ask Katie. That would be interesting, actually. I would enjoy hearing her tell this truth. But so I got up earlier that morning and I
She
started
lived in
mowing.
another country at this point. So.
She knows us. I got up and started mowing, and
I can't stop laughing because John's laughing over here. He's so red in the face. He's laughing so hard at your story.
So I got up and started mowing, and my grandpa had bought a zero turn, which was a blessing.
Oh, man.
It helped us a lot. So I think I had already mowed all of my aunt and uncle's yard, and then I'm not laughing because I'm telling a lie. I'm laughing because giggle face over here. I started mowing. I still remember where I was. It was in the back of the backyard, and I got really thirsty.
Oh,
So
man.
I went
He
inside.
got thirsty on the zero turn. Oh.
If you know what Louisiana heat is, raise your hand. So I go inside to get some water, and I come and I hear the mower start up as soon as I get inside, and I'm like, no, he didn't. And it's still early enough where like the grass is still kind of wet, and I see John.
Hold on. Just for our listeners, the conflict is that you had to take turns on who got to use the mower and who had to weed eat, right?
Yeah, because if you were stuck weed eating,
It's a job.
it is like a long all day thing. There's a million things that needed weed eated around, and it was just a tough job. The weed eating the ditches, and
The ditches were the worst.
So nobody wanted that job.
no.
Okay.
So
you went in to get a drink of water.
So I went in and get a drink of water.
Allegedly.
I hear the mower start up, and I'm like, that's weird. And I knew immediately what John had done. If they see him on the mower, they think he's been mowing, and they're gonna make me weed eat. That's not right. So I go out there, and what do I see? John on the zero turn. What else do I see? A target on his back.
Firstborn.
The target on the back of his head. I'm like, okay. So I run up and I I shouldn't do that. I mean, you remember the anger issues I said?
Intensity.
My intensity. I hit him in the back of the head.
As any brother would.
Yeah. I hit him in the back of the head, and then I'm like, okay. And I wasn't ever scared to fight him. Like, that's not an issue. But what had happened was, like I said, the grass was still wet. Mm-hmm. And he comes at me, and I'm like, oh boy. Because at this point, he was way more mad than I was. So he's coming at me.
You just hit him.
He's got a sucker punch.
Yeah. It was a sucker punch, but he deserved it. And that remind me of that. So I'm like, I'm just going to sidestep him and clock him again. Well, when he was running at me and I went to step and that grass was still slippery and I just slipped and I knew my day was done. He got on top and wore me out. But I did lose that one. But yeah.
This is like 30 minutes later. It took you to get the story out. You had 2 minutes.
If you wouldn't, okay.
All right. So,
needless to say, why would I just went behind him and hit him in the back of the head?
Anger issues.
intensity.
I don't wake up out of bed and be like, who am I going to hit today? That isn't me. But yeah, that happened. And that's the truth.
All right. Well, we've heard Matthew's side.
The goal is today to agree on something. Besides the grass was wet.
It won't be this, that's for sure.
All right, John.
Just plain and simple. Plain and simple. He dreamed that he woke up and was mowing and was halfway done. It was in the back. That was all a dream. And he was in such a deep sleep because I tried to wake him up a couple of times that he really thought this was reality. And it was not. The whole point was we had to get done by a certain time because we wanted to go. I think we were going to the campgrounds, Tioga or something I think it might have been the March youth rally or something they were putting on. And we had to get this done before we left. So, I'm not saying anyone is telling a fib or anything like that. It's just, you ever had those dreams that were like so real?
Mm-hmm. I had one last night.
Yeah, he had a dream that was so real. And, I don't think he was even woken up yet until he was on the ground, and it's okay. Like, we all have those moments where, what is not reality seems like reality.
So, John, you said you got up early. You got on the mower first.
Well, I knew it was my turn to weed eat. I will agree with you. Okay. It was not my turn.
So
we got
agreement. How the story is changing.
So no, it's your turn was over. So I agree. It was not my turn to mow, but I had multiple times tried to say, "Hey, we have to get up. If you don't get up, I'm getting on the mower. And once I get on the mower, I'm not getting off." There's no breaks for this guy, okay? I don't need a water break. Look, we're going to get this zero turn, mulching this grass. So, yeah, and...
So you took Matt's turn. Matt slept in, allegedly.
It's kind of like the birthright, like he basically offered it to me by not waking up.
I want you to go back to the past when he spoke about this without me here. And just do a fact check and make sure his story is even.
So I've heard this story a lot, and it's always the same from John too.
He's learned. He's rehearsed.
Yeah, he's rehearsed.
So the point is,
all right, we should take a vote, and the final answer is up to me and Charlie.
I think that's fine.
But let's leave it up to our listeners.
Okay, yeah.
So
whose story is more believable?
Yes. Now,
vote Matt or vote John.
If you think, if you think that John is correct, write it in the comments.
I personally, all right, I will admittedly say that I am biased. I'm closer to John than I am Matt, but Matt's story sounds more believable.
So
Let your conscience be your guide.
You also think we didn't land on the moon?
We didn't.
Oh boy! now he's sucking
we're
up.
getting into it.
Oh, he just got David's vote.
So here's why is it's just a little more far fetched to believe like he was having a dream. That
No,
No,
I'm
I'm saying that the dream is become his reality. I'm just saying I don't think he had a dream. I think he got hit so hard that this story is spun in his mind.
If you said something so many times, you start believing it, John.
well,
Is that what happened to you?
So we think that. So it was Matt's turn for sure. We're in agreement there. It was Matt's turn. John took Matt's turn. Either way, you took his turn.
It happened.
Whether
It
he
fell in my
started,
lap.
whether
Yeah,
whether he started mowing first or not, whether he slept in and you mowed the whole yard, and then he woke up thirsty and went to grab a drink and thought had this dream or whatever. I don't know. And then, but we can come to agreement that it was Matt's turn.
Yeah,
John took the
no,
turn.
I never, no doubt about it. It was his
But
turn.
the early bird gets the worm.
Okay,
So if
can
you
I-
rose early? I don't know.
Right.
Go ahead.
So we're going to give this like a week or a couple of days.
well, it'll be a while before
It
this
airs.
posts.
Yeah.
So
Well, and after whoever wins the argument, and we never argue about it again.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Why do you want that to end?
I
So
care-
this
care
is all
for your
just-
soul.
Is your conscience catching up to you?
This
I
is all
care for
really
your
fun.
soul.
It's just fun. They don't hate each other.
No, they
obviously.
love each other. We've established that. But it's a funny story.
It is
and
a
we've heard
hilarious.
it a
That's why I
bunch.
brought it up because it's so funny to
yeah.
hear them talk about it.
Yeah.
brotherly love fights.
Yep.
So funny.
And so in the comments, who do you side with, Matt or John? And which one is it? Do you remember? Because we do.
I can tell you what boots he was wearing that day.
I can too. Georgia boots.
And it was the rounded boots.
That wasn't hard to remember, John, because I wore them every day of my life for years and years. So
same
all right,
size. Same
we're
pair.
going to start overrated, underrated, because we're not ever going to
This
get past
story-
this mowing story.
is this story
is overrated or underrated? Overrated, underrated, sibling twin edition. That's what we're gonna do. And so what this is we'll say something, and you're gonna say if it's overrated or underrated, okay? Or what you think, if you agree with it, don't agree with it, that kind of thing. And so the first one, which I'm sure happens, and I know happens a lot with you guys, being mistaken for your sibling.
Happens to me a lot.
Is that something that in life, is that something you get real frustrated about, or is it just like comes with the deal?
It depends on the
Overrated
situation.
or underrated.
It depends on the situation. Because when he liked the blue lights, he was arresting people, or like you were putting them in the jail, and when they were coming out of the jail, they would see me in public and they would think it was
I want
you.
to kill you.
I
First
never
off,
had a bad.
I was inside the jail taking great care and respect of people.
No, you were, and I never had a bad encounter. Just awkward.
Yeah.
What would they say? What would they call you? Miller something Miller. Not officer, but what is it? Officer Miller? What would they address you as?
See that respect?
Oh, God. He had to get a badge to get to earn it. But, I'll see him out in public, I'm with my family and everything, and they're like coming up to me and I have no idea who they are, And so that's kind of awkward a little bit, but the other stuff like church or anything else like that, I mean, we just go with it.
So it's funny. There was a moment, you told this, I think, before, but maybe not on the show, but you had just preached or did offering, and Matt was serving on usher staff. and there was somebody that came up and was like, "How'd you get down here so fast?" Like
That happens all the time.
Yeah. There's people that would come up to me and were like, "Wow, what you taught today was very good." And I go, "Thank you." We get mistaken a lot, and
You just go with it.
I go with it now. Now, if it was like something that I really need to be like, wait a second, I'm not the one.
If they said your lesson was horrible today, that wasn't me.
Now, growing up with your parents, was there ever a moment where you got in trouble for something Matt did because they mistake you, or did they always just know who was who?
No, we were always doing stuff together. So
Yeah, it was usually
it was always
one
earned.
of us was in trouble. We were both in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't really. I think that, like once you're around us enough, it's hard to mistake us. I think.
Oh yeah.
Unless
It took me a solid 6 months.
Yeah.
Not me.
It took me about 6 months to not be like questioning in my mind. Okay, who is this one?
Yeah.
Really, it's only from from a distance. That's the only time it gets dicey. But now I know you both so well. It's not
Yeah.
a tell the difference.
And sometimes I like to try to get Ashley, and I still mess with her. I'll go up behind her at church, like, "You ready to go home?" or stuff like that, and then she'll turn around and like
on the phone.
Smack you.
On the phone. Apparently on the phone we sound just alike. So that's fun.
I wonder how this podcast will sound.
It's going to be confusing. I know
there's two of
already. It's going to be confusing.
You're gonna have to watch this one.
yeah.
On YouTube or Spotify.
That is true. I didn't think about that. What if people just listen? Should I have introduced myself and like,
Every time you talk.
Yeah.
No, I think.
And John says,
So next one is twin pranks. Overrated, underrated. You talked about doing this in the music class or whatever. but
underrated.
Was this something that you loved to do growing up, pranking people?
We were very careful about when we did it. We didn't do it all the time.
Yeah.
Because people I think would catch on, but we did it every so often.
I think if you do it too much, but if you do it in the right moments, I think it could be very awesome.
Yeah.
It's like a Disney movie, like to think about the opportunities and the possibilities with twin pranks.
Yeah. And a lot of times that we've like tricked people, we didn't know. Like this, they're just confused. Kind of like they were saying at church, like somebody was like, "How is he moving so fast? I just seen him up there. Now he's back here."
Man, he does a lot.
Yeah.
This guy's busy.
Really involved.
Did you guys ever work at the same job?
Yes.
Yeah.
And was that ever like? Did you ever like Matt? Did you ever call in sick and was like, "John, do me a solid and work my shift"? And,
I don't think we did that.
They would know that it wasn't me by work ethic.
oh, okay.
So
Wait, was that positive for you or negative for you?
There's a reason why I'm still employed there. He's
Okay.
not.
I was never fired from
That's why
any
you
job.
chased lights.
It was too easy there.
No, they had made comments because by the time he worked for, I don't think we ever worked together on the floor.
No, he was in the office by the time I.
So I was working in the office. He was working on the floor. Now, there were times when I walked out on the floor and people were very confused. Like some of the new hires and stuff. They're like, they would see me in my office clothes and they're like,
got
"This
promoted?"
guy worked like all night long and now he's working in the office too." Like once he had left, he's like, some of the people now, they were like, "Man, I was so confused for so long. I thought you were still Matt, and I thought you were like working in the office during the, office hours, and you were working third shift at night." So.
Well, he had just moved into the office when I got hired. And because he still had his uniforms that said John.
Oh yeah.
And my uniforms didn't come in yet. So I wore John uniforms.
Nice.
And the guys I was working with every day I have a picture of it somewhere. They would put like a sticker and he'd put "better than." So it said "better than John" on my name tag.
Goals. Hashtag goals.
But yeah, it was a good time.
That's
good time.
funny. All right, guys. Last cast. This is where we wrap up the episode. If you have anything you would like to share with our listeners about this topic of brotherhood, or just a word of encouragement, or just anything at all that you would like to share with our listeners.
This just popped in my head real quick. This is really short and sweet, but there was a couple times in our lives where we were living in different countries, living 1,000 miles apart, different state. Don't take for granted of when you are together as a family And then if you have siblings that you don't talk to that you were once close to, life's short. Give them a call, text them, let them know that, hey, you're thinking of them.
Yeah.
In that regard, live with no regrets when it
Yeah.
comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That just popped in my head when you said that. So.
Yeah.
I think that it may be sometimes drastic. You have to do something different. But I remember the times before I had people that I could call on, other than John. He's been there for me. We've been distant, whatever. I remember calling them, here and there when we lived states apart, talking. But it took, sometimes you don't even know that you're missing that brotherhood part.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see it, you'll know, like, I'm missing that.
Yeah.
Like I did when I saw it myself. And if you don't have those brothers to talk to, you need to start reaching out,
Yeah.
you're not alone. You're not alone. You're never alone.
Yeah.
There is always someone to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that now. It took a while. Sometimes there's things that I don't want to talk to John, about.
Like that mower incident.
Yeah. Like, I want to talk to Sean about that. No, I just, you're never really alone. There's brotherhoods out there that, like, here.
Mm-hmm.
Godly brotherhoods. That's the big key there.
Yeah. And for you, it was worth moving for, like, cross state lines to get that. So
that's really good, Matt.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's really good.
Sean, you got anything you want to add?
No, just enjoyed this partnership of faith here at this table.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. John says, thanks for having us on.
Matt says, same.
Which one said it? No, it's okay. But yeah, we want to thank everybody for tuning in today. And I do think that this is a topic, worth sharing. Brotherhood is so important. Iron sharpens iron. God has given us relationships that are godly to form us and get us through those dicey waters, that gets us through, when you're going through trials or tribulation or just life circumstances. God has given us people to help us through those things. We are the body of Christ, and a lot of times, through my hardest moments, God has given me a friend to get me through it. And so I'm grateful for that. And that's needed. And if you don't have that, you need to find it. And you don't have to be an island is my last thing to say. And so if you've enjoyed this episode, if you laughed, if you cried, if you enjoyed it, and we need to settle this mower debate, leave a comment, like, subscribe, leave a review. Check out the show notes. We want to thank Backbone Coffee, First Form, and Two Clever Fellas, our show sponsors. Check them out in the show link, and we will see you next time.
All right, we'll see y'all.
Like, comment, and subscribe.